this video, we're going to give an overview of the display, and I thought this was a good display to work with because this is a very powerful instrument. There's a number of different things that you can have on the display at once, and so I thought this was a good place to kind of talk through a number of those different ones. So the first thing that you'll notice is at the top, we're always going to have the Graticule. And so the Graticule, we show you the volt per division settings, we show you the time base, and again, that's labeled out in the display itself. One of the things that you'll notice here is we have a serial bus going, and so we've got the decode right down below it. We actually have the bits that are being decoded, which is this line right here. We can adjust how big this display is by changing the size of the tables down below, and this works really well when we're looking at segmented memory or history mode, or decoding a serial bus, or if we're doing an FFT and you want the majority of the display to be in the frequency domain and a smaller portion in the time domain. You can do that, and it's very easy for you to adjust the size of the display just by using this bar. A couple other things that you'll notice when you come up here along the top, for the most part, everything's touchable. So if we want to come in and we want to change our trigger type from an auto trigger to a normal trigger, we can change it right there. Now, of course, you can also change it over on the front panel, but you can do it through the display. If you want to type in a specific delay, you can hit that. It'll pull up a menu for you, and you can tap that in. You can use a keyboard and mouse if you want, or you can use the display itself. I use this because I also like to know, well, what are the minimum settings and the maximum settings that I can have for any of those different controls, and I think that makes it very powerful from that perspective. The other thing, if you look down at the bottom, each of the channels, if you click on them, it'll pop up the menu for it. So we could change, in this case, I have a 1 megohm probe plugged on, so it won't allow me to change it. But if we didn't have that, we could change between a 50 ohm input and a 1 megohm input. You can change between AC and DC coupling. You can turn on the different bandwidth controls. We can go into the probe menu, etc. And so, again, you can touch on those types of things, and it makes it very easy to dive into them. Same for this UART bus that we're decoding. We can turn on each of the individual buses. We can turn them off. We can turn on a bus table. We can go into the menu as a shortcut, etc. If you look in the bottom right-hand corner, so we've got our little pop-up menu, and of course, this is how you get into any of the controls. And so you can scroll through here and go into each of the individual controls themselves. For example, if I hit on history mode, we could come in and change the history mode settings. If you've seen the tips and tricks one, you'll notice that there are some things that we can pull out as well. So like if I went into the acquire menu and, for example, I wanted to pull out the different types of acquire pieces, or if I wanted to pull out the record length, I could pull those out and drop them on the display. And then when I'm out of the menu, I could still adjust those just by clicking on those individual settings. And of course, you can move these around if you want to and change them where they're located on the display, or I can come back in and delete all of those. And then probably the last thing to mention is we also have this toolbar up here at the top, and the toolbar allows you to set kind of the most commonly used things that you might want to shortcut to. I think undo is a great one. You can go into annotation, but if you want, you can come in and you can choose up to 8 of these to have across the top panel there. And so you can say if you didn't want demo and you wanted search to be turned on, you could do that. So it gives you a lot of flexibility on what's automatically shown at the top of the display.